So in protest, they decided to act like the savages they are. So contrary to popular belief, most people believe that the Māori were savages and dressed like this and basically only had spears or some sort of, primitive, savage, or mostly cannibalistic in nature. But the thing people don't realize is that the Māori were fighting with guns even before the arrival of the British Army. As you can see here, they are defending themselves not with just trenches, but also walls and with guns. You see, between 1818 and the early 1830s, the Māori were fighting in a series of conflicts as up to about 3,000 battles between other Māori. This whole event was called the Musket Wars. So they'd been fighting against their own tribes and people for years before the British arrived with guns. And then people are defending the Brits invading as like they established civilization. It's not savagery. But the Māori were already cultivating the land. They had root crops, fishing. And at the time, and this is like the 1600s, well before the 1800 musket wars, they didn't have metal tools. But after, obviously, how would you get muskets without metal? Basically, the Māori and Europeans in general, not just the British, they were trading with all people from Europe. So people making the argument that New Zealand would never have been colonized or civilized if it wasn't for the British, I don't think you understand how trade works. How did they get muskets and weapons before the arrival of the British? How are they building walls and trench warfare before the arrival of the British? Calling the Māori savage was the British's way of coping with significant losses. They lost so bad that the only way that they could make their losses look good was to say that, oh yeah, we took Gate Pa after losing 100 men and not killing a single Māori. Because to the British, taking land was a victory, right? Even though they lost like hundreds of men. And remember, history is written by the victor. And the only people writing history books at the time were the British. So now, when the Māori have been sharing their stories, and then British accounts don't add up, we've actually discovered that the British didn't win. They didn't actually defeat or colonize as successfully as they claim. In some accounts, the British over-exaggerated how many they defeated, saying things like they killed 2,000 Māori in this battle when really they only lost like 20.